Welcome back to another video of motorcycle engineering and design. In this video we're going to model a front wheel, and we're going to simplify it by breaking it into a number of components, starting with the rim, and then we have the hub, and then from there we then will build the spokes. Now, the manufacturing method would usually dictate how we want to build a model. In this case I'm going to treat it as if it's a high pressure die cast wheel. Check the description for timestamps for any particular section. So to start we're going to need to sketch the profile for the rim. We only need to sketch half because we can mirror it later on. Now, depending on the style of bike and the type of wheel, this profile could be quite different. In this example we'll just be using the kind of wheel from a 600cc sports bike. So once we have this open sketch profile, we can then revolve it as a surface around the spindle axis. So as you can see, we now have a hollow half rim. Now before we mirror this to complete the rim, this would be an ideal time to start applying our rounds so that we can reduce the amount of work we need to do later on. Now in mouldings and castings it's typically ideal to maintain a consistent material thickness where possible, so I try to keep my internal and external rounds concentric. In high pressure die casting however, we could probably get away with a little bit of extra material thickness here and there, within reason, due to the high pressure nature of this process. One of the main problems is the difference in temperature throughout the material. We know as materials get hot they expand, and as they get colder they contract. So if they're heating or cooling at different rates, we can get warpage and even pockets within the material. This can then lead to cracks. That would be porosity. Other problems would be shrinkage and warping, to name a few. Now in the previous video I modeled up some brake discs in position, so I'm going to use that position as a reference when I create the mounting points on the hub. Now, as with the rim, we just need a profile that we're going to revolve around the spindle axis. And we only need to draw half of it and then we can mirror the other half across. Now we're going to start considering the mounting bosses for the brake discs. So I'm creating a plane offset from the mid-plane, roughly at the point where I want the brake disc to be mounted. I'm then going to extrude the bosses to the mid-plane. You could of course do this in the opposite direction, extruding from the mid-plane out to the offset plane. Of course I'm going to have 5 mounting points, so I need to use a circular pattern to copy this around the hub. We can then mirror them to the other side. So like most hubs, this is actually hollow, so I'm just going to cut some windows so we can see through it. I'm going to do this with 2 different sketches. The first one I'm going to lay out the profile that I want to be projected onto the surface. Then we need to come out of that sketch, creating a new sketch. And that's where we create a projection onto the surface. We have to select the vector direction, which will be the axis. So here I'm using the circular pattern to copy the sketch profile around the hub. Now this method is actually a little bit inefficient. It means repeating the same actions 5 times. Ideally we would break it down into sections, so we'd only model like a fifth of the hub, and then we could circular pattern that to complete one side and then mirror it for the complete hub. So what I've done here is I've used the sketch profile to split the surface. I've then used push and pull to remove the material. And I do it in this way so that the material is removed normal to the surface. And as you can see, we then repeat that for the other side. Then it's just a case of tidying up the model by applying some rounds. So by this point I decide to shorten the process, and I do that by extrude cutting half of the hub away. And then we can then mirror the remaining half for a complete hub. realized at this point that the mount points for the disc carrier should actually extend beyond the brake disc. So I'm just going to build some extra material around these towers, extrude it up, and then we'll cut that material away for the brake discs to seat. And then within that I also want to build the material for the bearings to seat. I'll start with layering these surfaces and I'll build them up with a taper. So this is the external material where the bearing will be seating. With that though, we're going to be extruding a large hole, a large cut through the hub. So I need to thicken up this internal material a little bit. And then I use the hole tool to create a hole through the center of this boss, selecting the countable profile for the bearing to seat. Now it's the final cut for the brake disc carrier mounting surface. So for a production part, this will be modeled initially as a whole part out of the casting. Only then do we start adding the machine processing, such as the cuts. This results in multiple levels of production drawings. So there's numerous different ways of modeling the spokes. I'm going to share a couple of methods now. The first one is going to be using the Loft tool. So let's say you want the spoke to come out of the hub at an angle and then have this small bend as well. So first start with sketching this line, which should usually be the path when we use something like the sweep function. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to place a plane along the path. I'm going to place one at each end and then one or maybe two in the middle. Now we have these planes. These are going to act as our sketch planes to control the profile of the spoke. So on the first plane I draw the profile. We can then draw the similar shape of different scale, different sizes on the following two planes. Now if we use the sweep function, we're going to be quite limited with the geometry we're going to be able to create. So by selecting the profile and the path, we get something that looks like this. So what if we don't use sweep? What if we use loft instead? For this we select all of our profiles in order, and a surface is swept between each profile. The curvature is interpreted from the profile and the position of those profiles that we've created. Once we have this, we can then add in our rounds or draft the surfaces to make it a little bit more interesting. And as always, when working with surfaces, we want to overbuild because we want to build it into the rest of the geometry nicely. Now I'm going to change this profile for my current design. I'm going to make this a straight line but at an angle relative to the hub. So in order to merge this together nicely, we have an offset surface creating the inside of this spoke. We've created an offset of the rim and an offset of the hub. We can use all of these surfaces now to trim these down, stitch them together, creating one body. So now all of the surfaces that made up the yoke has become a single body. We can then combine that with the existing bodies for the rim and the hub. But before we do that, we should use the circular pattern on the spokes. Then with our circular pattern complete, we want to merge this all together, and then we can start adding in our final details, the rounds. And here is the finished model. For this project, this is just a placeholder for now. In the future, I'll work on the design. But of course, the model is never finished until you've rendered it. So next I plan to work on the brake calipers and the fork lowers, but I'd like to hear from you what you would like to see. Would you like to see more developed fairings, the frame, hand controls, foot controls, or maybe even the exhaust system? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, thank you for sticking around to the end. I hope this video has been useful, and I'll see you on the next one.